It's been a long time. I'm so happy to be back. And today I'm going to show you something I've been working on for the last, well, probably a month. So it's been really long and I'm really excited to show you what I've built. So I've been busy since I got inspired to build something. And here is it, my creation book crossing website, which I built with Claude Code. And this is what I'm going to show you today. I built it using the Claude Code entirely in languages, spoiler alert, which I personally don't code. So I'm going to show you how I did it, and I'm going to show you 4 commands in Claude which I used more often, and I think you'll find it helpful. First, just a super quick summary. This is Fika Murder Club. This is a private exchange for crime fiction readers. I myself am a big lover of crime fiction, and here are all my books which I really love, and I loved reading them and I want to give them second life. So I put them on Fika Murder Club, and if you put your books, we can like books of each other. If we like each other books and we have a match, then we can chat about exchanging them. That's it. No money involved, also no shipping involved. We can just, chat about the books and enjoy it. So how it works is I can sign in, and I even have a sign in with Google authentication created. And here now I don't see available books because all the books which are on the website which I've just created are mine. Here I have add the book flow. I also have my profile where I could already see I have a test of an exchange made with my second account, and that gave me a reputation. I can also see, for example, likes is the books which were liked from, so others liked my books. That's my second account. I also could see the books which I liked from the other users, as well as I could see my previous chats with the users, and I can also see the status, how it went throughout the chat. You can also mark the book as like agreed for exchange, then it gets hidden from the general page. Exchange successfully, then you can leave or send, and then exchange successfully or not delivered, then you can leave in either way a rating for the user. And notifications, where you can also see how things are going. A lot of notifications because I've been testing a lot, but I hope you like it. I hope you like what I created, and please go and do let me know if you like fiction like I do. Maybe we could exchange fiction books. That's the reason why I created it. It's just for me to meet new people and talk about all the books which I loved reading. But without further ado, how did I do it and how did it work? First, I did it purely and entirely using Claude Code. Here is Claude Code, and here is how I did it with my subscription, which is a Claude Pro at the moment of recording at roughly 20 euros per month. And I'm currently already in my project, which I created a folder book crossing, and this is how the recommendation to use Claude Code is. You create a folder which is a project, and this becomes your logical entity in which you work on something. So I've been working on this website first locally and then with hosting in this project locally in my terminal. So what do I have here? The first thing that I want to probably show you is how I organize it. So there are a couple of useful commands. You can click the commands here using slash, and the first one I really like is memory. So you have a couple of memory options here. You have the user memory, which is overarching memory about me as the account which I want Claude to know. Like, for example, I wanted to always explain what it wants to do in the terminal. So my user memory looks like this. Global Claude instructions, new to the terminal, before running any command, explain what it is. So whenever Claude asks me like, hey, I'm going to run this in the terminal, are you okay? I'm like, well, tell me what you're going to do there. And don't make exceptions, do it for every command. Okay, so that's the terminal, for example, memory. Now, again, let's go to different types of memory and I'll show you them one by one real quick. The project memory. This is the Claude file, Claude.md, a main file which is read every time when I launch Claude within my project. This is the backbone. This is the most important file. So here I store, and I constantly ask Claude to update this file. I store everything that's important for the project. Like I store my tech stack, what am I selecting, at which way I am working with it, how does my database get structured, how do I get authenticated, what are my rules for the project, what are my routes. Also a long list of plan what I was doing while I was working on this was also saved here, and we updated it progressively throughout many days. We work on step by step. Some known bugs, I have a list here for me to work later on. That's like my backlog as well. Some design principles, what I worked on to make sure the website is consistent and how it should look and sound like. So as you can see, everything that's important is in this file. And I constantly, after every session, ask the Claude to review and update Claude MD so it's up to date for the project, and that helps me a lot. Another thing is the open auto memory folder. Oh, that's fantastically interesting because that's where I save memories about specific elements which occurred within the project. Let's look into this. The main file is memory MD. This is where the indexing of all my memories for the project is stored. And as you can see, I have quite a few memories solved, like, for example, build progress, where we are and what will needs to be done, what steps we omitted. I omitted testing particular flows because I need more users for that, and creating the brand copy and some bugs. Or a feedback on the terminal commands. The type of memory feedback is when I work with Claude and then I'm telling it, hey, do it differently. With this project, I always want to do things this way. So it saves it as a feedback. Same for the Git. I never want Claude to publish anything to Git. I will always commit. I will not let Claude do this. And same with the redirect from the previous URL which I had. Again, I don't want to change some things contrary to what Claude was suggesting, so I left it as feedback. And some things which we found out during the testing were really important for me to remember for the project, not to repeat the mistake, so I saved them as memories in this project. And same applies for row level security and the deployment and CI/CD. So these are the memories, and memory is the first thing which I really want you to remember because this is super important for working with Claude. So whenever you're in project, don't forget to update and create the CloudMD file, which you need to create in the beginning yourself, and then create and update the memories. Now, what do you do when you are starting project from scratch? Like I started the project, I had a zero understanding how the backend is going to look like, how the tech stack is actually going to look like. And since it's a hobby project, I wanted it to be free. So I actually launched a different command, which is a research. And it's not, so there is no research here, but you can ask Claude to research the current pricing for cloud, let's say storage. Let's just research something on AWS. And then if it's like, it's a rather smart to recognize that it wants to use the web search tool. So what I have done in my previous research with Claude, I have asked it to research a tech stack after I gave it a description and we saved it in Claude.md on what I want to build, I ask it to research a tech stack to make sure that it is a free system. So I wanted something which doesn't need a startup, that doesn't need a warm up, and I wanted to make sure that it was for free because it's a hobby project and I didn't want to incur costs with it, except for domain, which I purchased myself because I just love the name of the project. Okay, so that's the second thing, research. Now, once you have the research and you have the components, so you more or less understand and you can negotiate with Claude. Actually, this negotiation mode is called plan mode, I would call it. It's called plan mode. I would also call it negotiation. To activate plan mode, you can either do plan or you can just shift tab into plan mode. What does plan mode do? It suggests a set of action. Remember earlier in one of the memories we had this 14 steps plan. Actually, let me try to show it to you. Deploy plan. Well, this is one of the plans. This is not the one which I was referring to, but this is another thing which I planned. Usually, if it's called a plan, that means I was creating it with a plan mode. And this is what I ask Claude to plan, and I ask it to plan it throughout with the steps, because one thing at a time. It's still not something that we can say works with a massive context window. You still need to slice the elephant. So what I do is I set one step digestible size and then I work on it throughout. So moving on to the, let me try to see if I actually can find the plan for you in the memory. What was the name? Build progress MD. Here it is. So here is my long plan, something that I followed through multiple innings really. There has been step by step as I worked on it. Some of the steps I had to do outside of the environment because you can see here, like we were setting up the Supabase client, we were setting out Cloudflare, Git. I was also setting Google Auth configuration, so a lot of things. And it's important that it have it plans saved as a memory, because by default Claude saves plans just in some other plan folder somewhere globally, but they are not indexed and not connected to the project. So I saved plan as a memory and I worked from that path, which I also recommend you to do. So to sum it up, in the plan mode, use the plan mode shift and tab or /plan and then ask it to plan based on the research which you have done, plan which steps needs to be done in which sequence, and then we will start and then execute step by step. So plan mode here for you. And probably the last one, something that I mentioned in passing, is a context window. So whenever you work in a conversation with Claude, it will accumulate this conversation as a context. But it can happen that you work on multiple topics, like if you finished one step in a plan, you want to move to another one within the same conversation. What is recommended to do here, and what I was doing and what I recommend you to do, is use clear command. Clear command clears the window and it is no longer stored in context, so the tokens for using it are no longer used, which is great. One thing, of course, please balance it with updating CloudMD and with saving memories of things and decisions which were made, important ones, on your in your structure. So we spoke about Claude, and I'm really excited how it worked out. So in the end, I want to show you briefly how the tech stack looks. So I'm hosting on Cloudflare. This is how my current statistics look since I launched a couple of days ago. And it's been a soft launch really because it's a hobby project, but I'm really happy to see that we're gaining some traction. The book crossing database is the Supabase, the free tier. So Cloudflare, I have the free one. Supabase, a free tier as well. It has certain limitations, like this is unfortunately what we're going to see in all authentication window. Now the Git, well, a private repo for the whole project structure, and importantly an action to keep the Supabase alive, which is fired every 3 days, just to make sure that the free tier of my Supabase is not expiring, is not going to sleep. And yeah, otherwise than that, deployment here was my first deployment, didn't work, but pushing the code to main from local updates the deployment in the Supabase, so deploys a new version. Now I have the Cloud Auth from Google in test mode. Up to 100 users is in test mode, which I think is going to be enough for the pet project at the moment. And yeah, this is pretty much it. So here is how it looks. I hope you like this short overview. Do shoot me questions about it. I'll put all the links in the text stack. I also put the video which inspired me to do it in the description here. And it's been really fun coding this project. I will continue working on it for sure. But this is just my quick overview of things which I believe are important if you want to start building with Claude Code. And with that, I encourage you to build. So please stay tuned and please let me know what you have built.